Even if you're a professional footballer, you cannot always choose what you drive. See, when Portsmouth still played in the top flight of English football, the club's manager at the time, Tony Adams, made a very unusual and rather absurd rule. This rule would deny one of the team's top players, David James, access to his car, and he'd be condemned to driving another car on Tony's orders. Unfair, or don't you think? But what would be more unfair is if you're yet to give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. Click it now. Tony had made a rule that the worst trainer in the squad had to drive a 1992 Robin Reliant home after the training session and return with it to the training ground the next day. This was a three-wheel car that definitely seemed odd to be driving around in 2010, but poor James had no choice. He'd find himself behind the wheel for most days, especially as he battled a loss of form. Fortunately for him, his teammates would give the car a makeover by getting it resprayed and having a loudspeaker installed, so their poor goalie could be jamming some hot songs as he drove home in his weird-looking three-wheel car. While James was forced to repeatedly drive the odd-looking car by his coach, this other player was compelled by love to make some of the most bizarre changes to his cars. Since making his professional debut for Manchester City in 2005, Ireland would go on to play for his boyhood club until 2010. During this time, and given his sizable paycheck, he developed a taste for luxury and flashy cars, but in a rather odd way. First, he'd purchased an Audi R8, a German-made supercar, and proceeded to spend a whopping $10,000 to give it a paint job. But he left strict instructions for his painters. His car's signature Superman petrol cap was to be left untouched. There is no price for guessing how outraged he'd have become had his very famous petrol cap been resprayed. Not very long afterward, Ireland would again spend an outlandish £260,000 on a Bentley for his wife. And as if that wasn't enough, he'd pay an additional £1,000 to have the iconic B motif on the bonnet changed to her initials, as well as the plate number. He'd also have the leather on the seats changed and opted for a deep red leather to epitomize the love for his wife. As if all of this wasn't already much, he'd further have the words "To Jess, love from Stephen" stitched onto the new leather seats, as well as hearts stitched on the headrests. We guess it is safe to crown Ireland as football's official lover man. While Ireland did all these in demonstration of his love for his wife, this other player went super extreme with his love for his club. Having finished his youth career at Newcastle, Niall naturally proceeded to make his professional debut for his boyhood club. He'd then go on to make history by being part of the team that won the Football League Championship in the 2009-2010 season. Winning a trophy with your boyhood club is every footballer's dream, and when this happened, Niall became completely overtaken by his love for his club. Niall would then go on to do the unthinkable. Just like he proudly wore the colours of the Newcastle jersey on the pitch, he wanted to wear it wherever he went. So he had his Range Rover repainted in white before adding a black strip down through the middle of it. As if that wasn't an eyesore enough, he'd go on to add an R onto the range of his Range Rover Sport to spell out his last name. To ensure that his Range Rover stood out wherever he went, he customized his SUV further by adding his nickname, Power Ranger, to the vehicle's back. It'd appear one player took inspiration from Niall when he opted to customize his car in an even more bizarre manner. Having just bought one of the most powerful SUVs in the world, Diouf would decide that owning a Cadillac Escalade wasn't enough of a statement of wealth for a player of his caliber. Also still plying his trade in the Premier League at the time, finding inspiration on how to make his automobile distinct wasn't in any way difficult. It was his trademark to always want to stand out on the pitch, and now he was willing to go all out to achieve the same feat off the pitch. He opted to do something no other player had ever done before him by covering his Cadillac in a gold wrap. The paintwork gave his car a different glow, and the Senegalese got all the attention he wanted. But he wasn't just satisfied yet, as he obviously had an eye for bling. Next, he customized all the headrests in the vehicle with his initials. But while some players prefer to drive their cars by themselves, others choose vehicles that don't even require a driver. See, when you play in England and live in a city as bustling as London, it's easy to run late for training sessions and other engagements as a footballer. And while many football stars who ply their trade in England still prefer to commute in their own supercars, it'll appear that some other players, like Mesut Ozil, prefer to leave their luxury mobiles at home to avoid the city's crazy traffic and opt to make their way around England in a way that's very unusual for football players. While the highly talented winger still played for the Gunners, he'd regularly be spotted by the club's supporters and other Londoners taking the London Tube like a regular everyday Londoner. He'd even admit to his fans that he enjoys using the Tube for sightseeing tours around the country on days where he had some free time. Like Ozil, present Manchester United midfielder Christian Eriksen is also a regular Tube taker. While he was signed for Tottenham, he'd frequently use the City Tube alongside his close pal and teammate Eric Dyer, and frequently take photographs with club supporters and his fans.